السنة مثل سفينة نوح، من ركبها نجا ومن تركها غرق.
الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله، وكفى بالله شهيدا، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. As to what proceeds. After praising Allah the Most High, separated from His creation in a manner which befits His Majesty, with love and veneration solely for Him, and then requesting He the Most High to send His salah and salam upon the final prophet and messenger, Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Qurashi. We meet once again to study the classical text known as al-Usul ath-Thalathah, illustrated by the Mujāhid of his time in the Arabian Peninsula, Jaziratul Arab, Shaykh al-Islam, Muhammad ibn al-Wahha al-Tamimi, rahimahullah. I previously mentioned that we would discuss two issues which are outstanding with regards to the first principle, al-Asl al-Awwal, which is man Rabbuk. The statement of Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah ta'ala, when he talked about al-Ṭāghūt. What is a Ṭāghūt? This word Ṭāghūt is loosely used upon many to expel people out of the fold of Islam, as though that they are having a packet of peanuts so casually, and they will start to expel people out of the fold of Islam by giving them the title and calling them Ṭāghūt. Ṭāghūt has been mentioned in the Quran clearly. And we need to understand the statement of Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala. Following the statement of Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, the question that was asked was, is Āyah alayhi al-Salam considered to be a Ṭāghūt? The general understanding of al-Ṭāghūt is كُلُّ مَا عُبِدَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, everything that is worshipped other than Allah is a Ṭāghūt. I mentioned to you previously that the English translation that we have here, which is this book here, I could not locate the actual text which has been mentioned on the authority of Ibn al-Qayyim. So I do not know with this wording where the reference for this is. As we know that the statement of al-Ṭāghūt can be found by Ibn al-Qayyim in his book A'lam al-Muwaqqi'in. But with this wording, I could not find this statement with the resources that are at my disposal and the printed editions that I referred back to. I could not find this exact wording that has been mentioned here, although that the wording that has been mentioned is mutaqāribul ma'na, very similar. But first we shall deal with the issue of Āyah alayhi salam. Somebody asked the question, is that if the general definition of al-Ṭāghūt is that everything that is worshipped other than Allah is a Ṭāghūt. This has been ascribed to Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu and others. So is Āyah ibn Maryam a Ṭāghūt? This is the question. The answer to this is that not everybody who is worshipped other than Allah absolutely is considered a Ṭāghūt. Not everybody that is worshipped other than Allah is considered to be a Ṭāghūt. Why? Firstly, the one who is considered a Ṭāghūt is the one who is happy and pleased to be worshipped by the people. This is the first important point that you need to understand. Somebody who is happy and pleased to be worshipped by the people. And Āyah alayhi salam was not happy that the people worship him. The second point, or secondly, this person or this being or this thing called to his ibadah, like shaitan and others. Shaitan and others, they call people to worship, make ibadah from. So in order for somebody to be called a Ṭāghūt, these two components are very important. The first one is that he is happy, he is pleased, there is a rida, that he is being worshipped by the people. Secondly, this person calls to his ibadah himself, like the shaitan and others. And Āyah ibn Maryam alayhi salam, he was not happy that people worship him, make ibadah of him, nor did he call to the people that they should worship him and his mother. But rather Āyah alayhi salam, he called to Tawheed. هذا هو. Allah mentions in Surah al-Ma'idah, ayah number 72. لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الْمَسِيحُ ابْنُ مَرْيَمَ وَقَالَ الْمَسِيحُ يَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ مَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدْ حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ الْجَنَّةَ وَمَأْوَاهُ النَّارُ وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. They have certainly disbelieved who say Allah is the Messiah, the son of Maryam, while the Masih has said, O children of Israel, worship Allah, my Rabb and your Rabb. Indeed, the one who associates others with Allah, Allah has forbidden him paradise, and his destination is the fire. And they are not for the wrongdoers any helpers. The ones who make shirk with Allah, the ظالمين, there is nobody that will be able to help them on the day of judgment. So this is the first ayah. The second ayah, which has been mentioned, is وَإِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَٰهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ قال سبحانك ما يكون لي أن أقول ما ليس لي بحق إن قلته فقد علمته تعلم ما في نفسي ولا أعلم ما في نفسك إنك أنت علام الغيوب. And beware the day when Allah will say, O Jesus, O Isa, son of Mary, son of Maryam, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as deities besides Allah? He, Āyah alayhi salam, will say, exalted are you. It was not for me to say that to which I have no right. If I had said it, you would have known it. You know what is within myself, and I do not know what is within your nafs. Indeed, it is you who is knower of the unseen. This is the second ayah that clearly clears Isa alayhi salam of any form of calling that he should be worshipped other than Allah. Surah al-Ma'idah, ayah number 116 and 117. He said, مَا قُلْتُ لَهُمْ إِلَّا مَا أَمَرْتَنِي بِهِ أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبَّكُمْ وَكُنْتُ عَلَيْهِمْ شَهِيدًا مَا دُمْتُ فِيهِمْ فَلَمَّا تَوَفَّيْتَنِي كُنْتَ أَنْتَ الرَّقِيبَ عَلَيْهِمْ وَأَنْتَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. I said not to them except what you commanded me, to worship Allah, my Rabb and your Rabb. And I was a witness over them as long as I was amongst them. But when you took me up, you are the observer over them, and you are over all things a witness. So this should answer the question that Isa alayhi salam is not a Ṭāghūt. Isa alayhi salam is not a Ṭāghūt, and there is clear evidence in the Quran that Isa alayhi salam was not happy that he should be worshipped other than Allah, nor did he call to his ibadah. A Ṭāghūt is somebody who is happy. There is a rida, and he calls that he be worshipped other than Allah, like Shaitan, Iblis, and his followers. The second issue is with regards to a statement that has been ascribed to Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin. They said that Shaykh ibn al-Uthaymin, rahimahullah, he said that the Christians who worship Isa, then he is a Ṭāghūt to them, and not a Ṭāghūt himself. This is what Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin said. This is what has been ascribed to Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin. Many people, they are confused with this statement because they don't understand the speech of the scholars. It is for this reason that when you read a statement of a scholar and you have surface knowledge, you will misinterpret and misunderstand what the Shaykh is saying. Like in this instance. Especially when the statement has been transferred or translated into another language. So the actual message is rendered from the source language to a target language. And the target language wording is worded in a way where there is ambiguity, confusion, and misunderstanding. So this statement, I wanted to bring this statement forth with regards to Al-Allāmah Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin, rahimahullah, and Isa alayhi salam being called a Ṭāghūt by him. First of all, listen attentively to his statement. What is he saying? He said, the Christians who worship Isa, then he is a Ṭāghūt to them and not a Ṭāghūt himself. This statement, if you contemplate and reflect upon it, the latter part of the statement clarifies the first part of the statement. And how? Now I'll explain how. First of all, Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin did not say that Isa is a Ṭāghūt. And anybody who says this has disbelieved in what Allah has said in the Quran. What did Allah just mention in the Quran? Just a little while ago, I read to you the ayat of Surah al-Ma'idah of what Isa alayhi salam said. Isa alayhi salam, Allah questioned him with regards to him and his mother being worshipped other than Allah. So anybody who calls Isa alayhi salam a Ṭāghūt has disbelieved in Allah, has disbelieved in the Quran. And Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin, being an ocean of knowledge when it came to Aqidah, would never ever make such a statement. Because Shaykh ibn Uthaymin believed that Isa is a Nabi min Anbiya illah, is a prophet from the prophets of Allah. So what is the makhraj? And how do we harmonize what Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin said? So we say that there is a possibility, probability and possibility, there is an ihtimal that the Christians who worshipped Isa, they worshipped a Ṭāghūt, but they did not worship Isa. The Christians who worshipped Isa, they worshipped a Ṭāghūt and they did not worship Isa. Because it was this Ṭāghūt, who is this Ṭāghūt that made them worship Isa? Iblis, barakallahu fiqh, the shaitan, who ordered them to worship Isa alayhi salam. And it could be so that this is what Ibn Uthaymin intended when he said, what he said was, whoever worshipped Isa in reality worshipped the Ṭāghūt, meaning the devil, the shaitan who commanded them. Wadah, is that clear? This is what he meant. Because the devil, the shaitan, Iblis and his army are the ones who are commanding the people to worship other than Allah. This is what can be said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah al-Saba, ayah number 40 and 41. وَيَوْمَ يَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ يَقُولُ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ أَهَؤُلَاءِ إِيَّاكُمْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ أَنْتَ وَلِيُّنَا مِنْ دُونِهِمْ بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنَّ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِهِمْ مُؤْمِنُونَ. And mention the day when He will gather them all. Allah will gather them all and then say to the angels, did these people used to worship you? They will say, Subhanak, glorified and exalted be you, O Allah. O Allah, are our benefactor, not them. You are our protector and not them. Rather, they used to worship the jinn. Most of them were believers in them. See here, it says, بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنَّ بَلْ كَانُوا يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنَّ. This is what Shaykh ibn Uthaymin rahimahullah said when he meant that the Christians did not worship Isa, but they worshipped a Ṭāghūt. Wadah, is that clear? So this is with regards to what has been mentioned with regards to Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin rahimahullah. And with the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when I was looking at some lexicons, some qawamis, some dictionaries of the Arabic language, I found what Ibn Uthaymin said was dot on or spot on with regards to the Arabic language. And how is that? So I found some more convincing evidence that what Ibn Uthaymin said is in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah, and in accordance to what the Arabic language and the experts of the Arabic language have said with regards to the word Ṭāghūt. Ibn Faris, and everybody knows Ibn Faris. Ibn Faris was a lexicon of the Arabic language, an imam of the Arabic language. He died in the year 395 after Hijrah. He has written this famous book, or this famous dictionary, which is called Maqāyīsul Lughah. Every single Talibul Ilm must have this book in their library. It is like water and fish. A Talibul Ilm cannot do without this book in his library, because he needs to always refer to the linguistic meanings of terms. Ibn Faris mentions in volume 4, page 206, under the derivative of three letters, ʻAbd, ʿayn, ba, and dal. He says, وَيُقَالْ أَعْبَدَ فُلَانٌ فُلَانًا, that so and so worshipped so and so. Meaning, أي جعله عبدا. Meaning, أعبد فلان فلانا, meaning that so and so took him as a slave and made him as a slave. ويقال عبدة الطاغوت والأوثان, that he is a slave or a servant of the Ṭāghūt and the idols. وَلِلْمُسْلِمِينَ عُبَّادٌ يَعْبُدُونَ اللَّهِ, and for the Muslims, the servants and the slaves, they worship Allah. So Ibn Faris here mentioned that those who worship other than Allah, then they are those who worship the Ṭāghūt. This is the inference here. They said the ʻUbbād are those who worship Allah. And the ʻAbd, which is also plural, those who worship other than Allah, then they either worship Ṭāghūt or the idols. So everything that is worshipped other than Allah is either those who worship idols or they worship Ṭāghūt. And as we know that Āyah alayhi salam was not a Ṭāghūt because he did not call himself and was not pleased that he be worshipped other than Allah, but the people took him as a deity. So it was Iblis that they worshipped in reality, because Iblis was the one who made them worship Āyah alayhi salam. So we can find this also. Is the point clear with regards to what Ibn Faris said? أَعْبَدَ فُلَانٌ فُلَانًا, that so and so took so and so as his slave. جَعَلَهُ عَبْدًا, made him his slave and his servant. And you have عَبْدَةُ الطَّاغُوتِ وَالْأَوْثَانِ. With regards to al-Ṭāghūt, then Mujāhid ibn Jabr. Mujāhid ibn Jabr is the senior student of Abdullah ibn Abbas. Senior student. Mujāhid says about Ibn Abbas being his teacher, he said that I stopped Ibn Abbas at every single ayah of the Quran and asked him about its tafsīr 3 times, the entire Quran. So Mujāhid is an authority. And when he would ask Ibn Abbas, he would ask Ibn Abbas in terms of its tafsīr and its meaning, linguistic meanings. And there is a tafsīr which has been attributed to him called tafsīr Mujāhid, but there is no such thing as tafsīr Mujāhid. There is no separate tafsīr. What people did is that they put some of his statements together and they called this tafsīr Mujāhid. Some people think that he wrote a tafsīr which is called tafsīr Mujāhid. In reality, it's a compilation. When he defined al-Ṭāghūt, Mujāhid ibn Jabr, he said, الطاغوت الشيطان في صورة إنسان يتحاكمون إليه. Ṭāghūt is the devil, is the shaitan, in the form of a human being which the people resort to with regards to judgments. This is what he said with regards to al-Ṭāghūt. So again we find from the statement of Mujāhid ibn Jabr, what Shaykh al-ʿUthaymīn said, which can be found in the Quran, which can be found in the statements of the Salaf, and which can be found in the Arabic language. In reality, it's a compilation. When he defined al-Ṭāghūt, Mujāhid ibn Jabr, he said, الطاغوت الشيطان في صورة إنسان يتحاكمون إليه. Ṭāghūt is the devil, is the shaitan, in the form of a human being which the people resort to with regards to judgments. This is what he said with regards to al-Ṭāghūt. So again we find from the statement of Mujāhid ibn Jabr, what Shaykh al-ʿuthaymīn said, which can be found in the Quran, which can be found in the statements of the Salaf, and which can be found in the Arabic language. That the Muslims are known as ʻAbd يعبدون Allah. And those who worship the Tawaghit, which is the plural for Ṭāghūt, they are known as ʻAbd al-Taghūti wal-Awthan. Again, the distinction was made by Ibn Faris, the Imam of the Arabic language, by saying that anything that is worshipped other than Allah is referred to as a slave and a servant of Ṭāghūt or al-Awthan. Now we come to the statement of Ibn al-Qayyim. Ibn al-Qayyim, and what Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said with regards to Ṭāghūt. So far, alhamdulillah, we have understood that al-Ṭāghūt, as understood by the Muslims, is that Āyah is not a Ṭāghūt, alayhi al-Salam. Āyah ibn Maryam, alayhi al-Salam, they are not from the Tawaghit in the sense that they were not happy that they should be worshipped other than Allah, nor do they call to the worship. This is a general definition of a Ṭāghūt with two components. But when the word Ṭāghūt is restrictedly used for Āyah alayhi salam, as Shaykh ibn ʿuthaymīn said, that the Christians, and taking Āyah alayhi salam as a Ṭāghūt, what he meant was that in reality they did not worship Āyah alayhi salam, Āyah ibn Maryam alayhi salam, rather they worship the shaitan who called them to this. يَعْبُدُونَ الْجِنِّ. And I gave you the evidence for this in the Quran. Now this will happen on the Day of Judgment when they will be called and will be clarified to. And also, al-Ṭāghūt has been used very frequently for the shaitan and other than the shaitan, but always used for the shaitan in general. Mujāhid clearly said, shaitan fi Sūrah al-Insan. The shaitan in the form of a human being. So the questioner who asked the question with regards to whether Āyah alayhi salam is a Ṭāghūt or not a Ṭāghūt, has that now been cleared? The ascription of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin, calling the Christians, saying that the Christians worshipped a Ṭāghūt, is that also clear? In the context that it was said. That's why it's very important for the students of knowledge that they understand the statements with the people of knowledge. Now we come to the statement of Ibn al-Qayyim, and then we will move back to the second principle. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, the print that I have of A'lam al-Muwaqqi'in is the tahqiq of Mashhur Hasan, volume 1, page 40. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, وَالطَّاغُوتُ كُلُّ مَا تَجَاوَزَ بِهِ الْعَبْدُ حَدَّهُ مِنْ مَعْبُودٍ أو متبوع أو مطاع. فطاغوت كل قوم من يتحاكمون إليه غير الله ورسوله أو يعبدونه من دون الله أو يتبعونه على غير بصيرة من الله أو يطيعونه فيما لا يعلمون أنه طاعة لله فهذه تواغيت العالم. This is what Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, he said, al-Ṭāghūt is that which is exceeded by the servant beyond its limit, whether it be with respect to following or worship or obedience. A Ṭāghūt for every single qawm or every single nation is the one who that nation goes to and resorts to for judging their matters to other than Allah and His Messenger, or worshipping that individual other than Allah, or following that individual other than the basira, the clear guidance that has come from Allah, or obeying that individual in those matters that they don't know that in reality that they should only be obeying Allah. He said these are the Ṭāghīt of the world. واضح, is that clear? That this is the exact wording of Ibn al-Qayyim. First he generalized, and then he categorized and gave its detail. واضح, is that clear? So he mentioned that al-Ṭāghūt is that which is exceeded by the servant beyond its limit. Anything that is exceeded by the servant beyond its limit is known as tughyan. And he mentioned three things here. He mentioned Maʿbūd or Matbūʿ or Mutāʿ. What is meant by worshipped Maʿbūd or followed Matbūʿ or and obeyed Mutāʿ? Maʿbūd meaning idols, icons. This is what is meant by Maʿbūd, deities. Anything that is taken for ibadah. This is meaning of Maʿbūd, starting with idols, icons and deities. Matbūʿ refers to soothsayers, magicians, fortune tellers, evil scholars. Evil scholars, ulama as-su. You follow them. You obey them. As you know that when people go to soothsayers and magicians, kuhan and the sahir that they go to, he demands from them that they obey him or that they obey her other than Allah. People think that only men are soothsayers and magicians, but that which is known in the subcontinent, that most of the magicians from the area where I come from are all women. People think that magicians are only men, but they are equally men and women, equal magicians. This is the meaning of Ibn al-Qayyim's statement, which is Matbūʿ. Mutāʿ refers to rulers who disobey Allah if the people take them as arbab. Arbab is the jam of Rabb, meaning that they make halal for them what Allah has made so haram. So by making it halal, they are a Rabb. And they make for them haram what Allah has made halal, so by making it haram, the people have taken them as a Rabb. These rulers. So for them, so they are considered to be Ṭāghīt. and the doer is a follower of their transgression of exceeding the limits. If he follows them. Mutāʿ. Rulers. So we had Maʿbūd, Matbūʿ, and Mutāʿ. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, when he talks about Mutāʿ in Majmū' al-Fatawa, volume 1, between page 20 to 28, he talks about Mutāʿ. Obeyed, being obedient. He says, وَالْمُطَاعُ فِي مَعْصِيَةِ اللَّهِ وَالْمُطَاعُ فِي اتِّبَاعِ غَيْرِ الْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ سواء كان مقبولا خبره المخالف لكتاب الله أو مطاعا أمره المخالف لأمر الله هو طاغوت. ولهذا سمي من تحوكم إليه من حاكم بغير كتاب الله طاغوت. So Shaykh al-Islam said that the mutāʿ, or the obedience here, is in the ma'siyah of Allah. When it comes to obeying the rulers, when you obey them, for example, in sinning, or when you obey them by following that which is not clear guidance, meaning misguidance, or the deen al-haq, that you don't follow them with the true religion, regardless of whatever statement that they bring that may be accepted, but in reality it opposes the book of Allah, or obeying them in a command or in a matter which goes against the commands of Allah, then this is a Ṭāghūt. Who a Ṭāghūt? And it is for this reason that the one who went to such people for them to judge between them, or the ones who went to such people that they be judged by other than the book of Allah, that person that they went to is a Ṭāghūt. Shaykh al-Islam said, this is why he was called a Ṭāghūt. Is that clear? Now we come to the issue of Ṭāghūt, that does the word Ṭāghūt necessitate that every single Ṭāghūt is somebody who leaves the fold of Islam? So the word Ṭāghūt, there are many categories of at-Tawaghīt, many. But is every single Ṭāghūt out of the fold of Islam? The Khawarij and the Takfiriyun, for them every single Ṭāghūt is out of the fold of Islam. They say every single Ṭāghūt is out of the fold of Islam. But Ṭāghūt, in order to understand what Ṭāghūt is, we know the technical understanding of the word Ṭāghūt, the explanation of the people of knowledge. Now we're going to go back to the Arabic language. Where we're going to go back? We're going to go back to the Arabic language. And then we're going to look at the Arabic language of how the word Ṭāghūt is used. And then we're going to look at the technical term of the word Ṭāghūt. And then we're going to look at the meaning of the word at-Ṭāghūt, or in the context of the Quran and the Sunnah. And then how the Salaf understood this thing. So we have the great Arabic linguist Zainuddin Abu Abdullah, who died in the year Zainuddin Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr al-Razi. He died in the year 666 after Hijrah. He has a beautiful dictionary called Mukhtar al-Sihha. It's published. You can even get the pocket version of this Mukhtar al-Sihha. Try to keep this dictionary with you. If you can't, buy the big dictionaries which are in many volumes. he talks about the word Ṭāghūt in his dictionary. He says, طغى in the Arabic language, طغى يطغى بفتح الغين فيهما ويطغو طغيانا وطغوانا. He says that the word طغى, or the root word or the derivative of the word طغى, what does it mean? He says in the Arabic language it means جاوز الحد, means to exceed the set limit or the boundaries. Anybody that goes against a boundary that has been set in the Arabic language, this is known as طغيان and طغوان. And he says وَكُلُّ مُجَاوِزٍ حَدَّهُ فِي الْإِسْيَانِ طاغٍ وَتَغِيَ بِالْكَثْرِ مِثْلُهُ. So Zainuddin states that Ṭāghūt linguistically means to exceed the set limit of anything. Every person who exceeds beyond the set limit in sin and disobedience is a Ṭāghī. Everybody. So if somebody sins, is Ṭāghī. The term Ṭāghīt or Taghiyya, they will say, the one who sins, they will say Taghiyya, meaning that he exceeded the boundaries of Allah. The boundaries of Allah, the hudud of Allah. The hudud of Allah are those prohibitions and commands which Allah has set. So this is what it means. He says, what Ṭāghūt al-Kāhin. The Ṭāghūt is the soothsayer, the shaitan. وَكُلُّ رَأْسٍ فِي الضَّلَالِ. And every single head of misguidance is a Ṭāghūt. So Kāhin is a kafir. Shaitan is a kafir. وَكُلُّ رَأْسٍ فِي الضَّلَالِ. Not every single person who's the head of misguidance, you can absolutely call him a kafir. Due to the level and degrees of misguidance. And then he says, he will be one of the following mentioned in this ayah. Then Zainuddin al-Razi mentions the ayah. He says, يريدون أن يتحاكموا إلى الطاغوت وقد أمروا أن يكفروا به ويريد الشيطان أن يضلهم ضلالا بعيدا. They wish to refer legislation or judgment to the Ṭāghūt, while they were commanded to reject it. And Satan wishes to lead them far astray. So here we go. Ṭāghūt is somebody, or Ṭāghīn is somebody who exceeds the limits. Is a shaitan, is a Ṭāghūt who has exceeded the limits and entered into kufr. So is the magician, the soothsayer, and so is the one who is the head of calling to misguidance. The second scholar of the Arabic language is Muhammad ibn Mukarram bin Ali Abu al-Fadl Jamaluddin ibn Manzur al-Ansari al-Afriqi. Jamaluddin ibn Manzur al-Ansari al-Afriqi, who died in the year 711 after Hijrah. His Arabic dictionary is a reference for the Arabic language. Just like مقاييس اللغة, مختار الصحة. And now we have لسان العرب. What is the book called? لسان العرب. when he talks about al-Ṭāghūt, he says, al-Ṭāghūtu مَا عُبِدَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ وَكُلُّ رَأْسٍ فِي الضَّلَالِ طَاغُوتٌ وَقِيلَ الطَّاغُوتُ. The second scholar of the Arabic language is Muhammad ibn Mukarram bin Ali Abu al-Fadl Jamaluddin ibn Manzur al-Ansari al-Afriqi. Jamaluddin ibn Manzur al-Ansari al-Afriqi, who died in the year 711 after Hijrah. His Arabic dictionary is a reference for the Arabic language. Just like Maqāyis al-Lugha, Mukhtar al-Sihha. And now we have Lisan al-Arab. What is the book called? Lisan al-Arab. When he talks about al-Ṭāghūt, he says, al-Ṭāghūtu مَا عُبِدَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ وَكُلُّ رَأْسٍ فِي الضَّلَالِ طَاغُوتٌ وقيل الطاغوت الأصنام وقيل الشيطان وقيل الكهنة. He said al-Ṭāghūt is something that is worshipped other than Allah. A Ṭāghūt is every single head of misguidance is a Ṭāghūt. And it is also said that a Ṭāghūt are the idols. It is also said that al-Ṭāghūt is the shaitan. It is also said that al-Ṭāghūt are the soothsayers, the magicians, etc. So, this is with regards to al-Ṭāghūt in the Arabic language, that anybody, an asi, somebody who commits a sin is a Ṭāghūt. The derivative of the word Ṭāghūt is upon him. The teacher of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-ʿUthaymīn, al-Rahman al-Sa'di, in his tafsīr called Tafsīr al-Karim al-Rahman, when he talked about Ṭāghūt, he said, كُلُّ حُكْمٍ بِغَيْرِ شَرْعِ اللَّهِ فَهُوَ ṭāghūt. Any ruling that is other than from the shar of Allah is a Ṭāghūt, meaning tajawaz al-had, has gone beyond and exceeded the limits. So this is with regards to al-Ṭāghūt, that we know that al-Ṭāghūt can refer to somebody who is a kafir as well as somebody who is a Ṭāghī and has exceeded the limits and will not be dispelled from al-Islam. You have learned this today from the Arabic language as well as what the scholars understand this statement. Allah mentions in Surah al-Naḥl, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. Ayah number 36. And we certainly sent into every nation a messenger saying, make ibadah of Allah and stay away from Ṭāghūt. Famous ayah, quoted. The tafsir of this ayah, if somebody was to look at the tafsir of the Salaf of this ayah, nobody can argue with regards to how, if the Salaf understood, how the Salaf understood this ayah. Al-Qurṭubī, who died in the year 671 after Al-Hijrah, in his tafsir of this ayah, he explains this ayah. He says that what Allah is saying in this ayah, أي اتركوا كل معبود دون الله كالشيطان والكاهن والصنم وكل من دعا إلى الضلال فمنهم من هدى الله أي أرشده إلى دينه وعبادته. Qurṭubī says that what Allah is saying here, ʻAbd Allah wajtanibut ṭāghūt. Abandon everything that is worshipped or ibadah that is made for other than Allah, besides Allah. And then he gave an example. Example does not mean restriction, just an example. And then he gave the example of the shaitan, the soothsayer, the idol, and everyone that quotes to misguidance is a Ṭāghūt. And then he says, فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ هَدَى اللَّهِ, and from amongst them are those who Allah has guided, clearly shown the path to His deen and His ibadah. ʻU'bud Allah. And there are amongst those who have fallen into worshipping this Ṭāghūt or following this Ṭāghūt. As we know that al-Ṭāghūt is somebody who is Matbūʿ or Mutāʿ. As al-Qayyim mentioned, Maʿbūd, Matbūʿ and Mutāʿ. Three things he mentioned. And now we'll come to the issue which will be discussed next week, because we don't have time. And that is Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and his understanding of the meaning of al-Ṭāghūt, and the discussion of the tyrant ruler, al-Hakim al-Jā'ir, being a Ṭāghūt. Next week. Did Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab consider every single ruler that did not rule by the book of Allah to be a Ṭāghūt in the context that he is no longer a Muslim? He has left the fold of Islam. And with regards to al-Hakim al-Zalim or al-Hakim al-Jā'ir, what was the position of Shaykh al-Islam Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah? And this will be discussed inshallah